So what is really, so different about OKRs, right? And for people who are familiar, with management frameworks, you know that Hoshin Country is absolutely right? KRA is absolutely right? For people who are familiar with all of these management frameworks, right? You may have a very fundamental question, right? Why OKRs, right? What is really so different about OKRs? While there are a lot of answers, probably one of the most important one is that OKRs are being used by some of the top companies, existing in the world today, right? Whether it is Apple, Google, Microsoft, or Meta, Facebook, right? So, and these could be, while I've listed out a lot of tech companies, right? You also have companies like Shell and Walmart, which are using OKRs, right? So, as they say, the proof of pudding is in eating, and OKRs is a pretty simple framework, right, which has been practiced by some of the top companies today. And it's not just the largest of the largest companies, but even some of the unique, I would say, the companies who are the disruptors, right? Like, let's say, whether it is Uber or whether it is Netflix, and even some of the new age disruptors, they also run their companies using OKRs, right? So having said that, let's quickly define OKRs, right? The O in OKR stands for objectives, right? So the visual here represents a mountain peak, right? It's typically an inspiring goal, right? Expressed in a very qualitative manner, right? What exactly do you want to achieve? So, for example, you may want to say that I'm going to be climbing Mount Everest, right? Or Mount Denali. That is my objective, right? So it's quite an inspiring objective, right? But how do you measure how far you are towards, your objective, right? So that's where key results come in, right? So if you are scaling up, Denali or Mount Everest, right? Probably you're going to be looking at the altitude that you're covering every day of the climb, right? So that's the key result, right? So key results is really our quantitative metrics through which whether you are achieving your objectives or not, right? A more formal definition that we have put together is that OKR is a goal management and execution system, right? So that's a very key thing. There are a lot of goal management systems, like, for example, SMART goals, right, or KPIs, which may not cover execution, to the extent that we would want to. But OKRs is very comprehensive, covers both goal management and execution. And it's typically used by teams to collaborate and achieve stretch goals, right? So whatever I've listed in bold, they are very key things. And we are looking at stretch goals. OKRs were born in Silicon Valley, right, where companies scaled up, pretty fast. So achieving stretch goals was really the key motive for companies to deploy OKRs, right? So this is about the planning, but OKRs are all about execution, right? So which means, you need regular check-ins, right? Reporting about the progress, you need regular feedback, and you need, because these are stretch goals, you may not always know exactly how you're going to achieve at the beginning of the year or quarter. So it requires continuous learning, collaboration, problem solving, right? So that's a pretty detailed definition, but the structure itself is pretty simple, right? Objectives are qualitative, inspiring goals, and key results are quantitative goals that indicates whether you are achieving the objective or not. Now let's look at one simple OKR, right, to illustrate this point, right? So let's say you are a financial services company, right? Let's say a bank, right? And you've gotten feedback from your customers that your user experience could use a lot of improvement, right? So you have decided to have an objective, right, which says that we want to improve the web user experience for our website, right? So I said, well, objectives are inspirational, but that's very, I would say, localized to a particular team, right? Very contextual. And what is inspiring for me may not be inspiring for you. So for the context of the team, that's quite inspiring. Now look at these three key results, right? Improve task success rate from 70% to 90%, right? So currently, for this account opening application, if 70% of the people really are the people who start to open an account, go through the process and stick with it and open the account, right? 30% drop off while opening, right? So that's a very, very important factor. They want to increase the task success rate of account opening from 70% to 90%, right? So that's about really, I would say, the effectiveness. And if you look at the third key result, reduce time on task for signing up new accounts from 5 minutes to 2 minutes. Right? Among the people who end up opening the account, right, they have taken 5 minutes to do this particular task. We want to reduce it to 2 minutes. Right? So it's more of an efficiency and improving customer satisfaction. Right? And then the second key result is about achieve system usability scale of at least 80, which is more of an internal metric. Right? So now if you look at the structure of these KRs, right, there's a method to the madness.